Yeah. Time of supply of services, forward charge mechanism. So if the invoice was issued within the time limit under section 31 of the CGST Act, then if the answer for the question is yes, then it is a comparison between date of invoice and date of payment, whichever is earlier. Date of invoice and date of payment, whichever is earlier. If the invoice was not issued within the time limit, then it is a comparison between DOCS. DOCS stands for date of completion of service. Date of completion of service. So date of completion of service or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Date of completion of service or date of payment, whichever is earlier. You can see Ma, in both the occasions, the date of payment is common. What is changing? If invoice issued within the time limit, you should compare the date of payment with the date of invoice, and the earlier event is the time of supply. If invoice was not issued, then you should compare date of completion of service with the date of payment, whichever is earlier is the time of supply. Clear, ma? Sir, what is the time limit of issuance of invoice under section 31 of the CGST Act? See, we have already seen the time limit in the last class, but that is the time limit for the issuance of invoice for the supply of goods. Supply of goods, we have a separate time limit. Supply of services, we have a separate time limit. Supply of goods, what we have learned for the supply of goods, we have learned that the invoice should be issued on or before the date of removal of the goods, on or before the date of delivery of the goods, or on or before the goods made available to the recipients. You have seen the three different situations. Right, ma? Right? So when it comes to the services, we have a time limit in number of days, 30 days. So time limit for the issuance of invoice, the invoice should be issued within 30 days from the date of completion of service. The invoice should be issued within 30 days from the date of completion of service. So as and when that particular service was completed, then immediately what? Within 30 days, you need to issue the invoice. And this 30 days time limit increase it to 45 days. In the case of the banking companies, NBFCs, and insurance companies. For these three people, the time limit for the issuance of invoice is 45 days. Normal cases, the time limit for the issuance of invoice is 30 days. So if you issue the time invoice within a period of 30 days from the date of completion of service, so this should be the time of supply. Date of invoice, date of payment, whichever is earlier. If not issued, date of completion of service, date of payment, whichever is earlier. Is that clear, everyone? Right. Simple, ma. It is very easy to remember. We will be having three events only. Date of issuance of invoice, date of completion of service, date of payment. If invoice was issued within time limit, it is the comparison between these two, whichever is lower time of supply. Right, ma? The first case. Second case, student. We will be having again three events: date of completion of service, date of invoice, date of payment. Here we have not issued the invoice within time limit, so it's strikeout chasing. It is strikeout chasing. Manaki inkem migilindi date of completion of service, date of payment, whichever is earlier. So whichever is earlier is the time of supply here. That's it. Whichever is earlier is the time of supply here. So invoice issue cheste, ఇది strikeout చేసేయండి. It is a comparison between invoice and payment, whichever is earlier. Invoice issue చేయకపోతే అది strikeout చేయండి. Then it is a comparison between date of completion of service and date of payment, whichever is earlier. Clear, ma? Right? So now let me share the material. Hope you noted down this. Right. So you can see here, ma. Supply of service on which the supplier is liable to pay the tax. Time of supply of service. If the invoice issued within the time period, what is the time period? 30 days. 30 days under section 31, then it is a comparison of date of issuance of invoice, date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. If invoice was not issued, then it is a comparison of date of provision of service, date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Clear, ma? Next, let's move to the note points. If the time of supply is not ascertainable in the above cases, then sometimes you won't be having the information of date of issuance of invoice or date of completion of service or date of receipt of payment. We might have provided the multiple services for which some of the services we might not have issued the invoices. Some of the services we might have received the payment, but we forgot when we have received that particular payment. So some situations you don't have the information of date of completion of service or date of invoice or date of payment. When this information is not available, then what you need to take as time of supply is the date on which the recipient of service shows the receipt of services in his books of account. See, as a supplier, you might have forget about the details of date of invoice, date of payment, date of provision of service. But if recipient has recorded that, okay, as on this particular date, I have received the services from so and so person. If recipient recorded that particular details, the date on which a recipient recorded the details in his books of account, that date will be, you should take it as time of supply. The date on which the recipient recorded the receipt of services in his books of account. That particular date will be treated as time of supply. Next. Here, date of payment receipt, date of receipt of payment refers to, that means whenever you are receiving the payment in cash, whenever you are receiving the payment in cash, then the date on which you receive that amount will be the time of supply, will be the time of supply. But if in any case, if we receive the payment in check, if we receive the payment in check, so there might be two possible dates. One, the date of entry into the books of account. Two, the date on which the payment is credited to bank account. Two, the date on which the payment is credited to bank account. Now, among these two events, whichever is earlier is said to be the time of supply. Whichever is earlier is said to be the time of supply. Are you clear, ma? Everyone? This point, the same point which we have learned in time of supply of goods. There also we have studied the same. If the payment is received in check, the date on which the payment was credited to bank account or the date on which the payment was recorded in the books of account, whichever is earlier, will be treated as a date of receipt of payment. Same provisions, no change. Next. Time limit for the issuance of invoice. Time limit for the issuance of invoice. Just now we have seen that, sir, the time limit is the invoice should be issued on or before, before or after the provision of service, before or after the provision of service, but within 30 days from the date of supply of services. So the invoice should be issued within 30 days from the date of supply of services. And this 45 days time limit increases to 45 days in the case of insurance companies, banking and financial institutions, including NBFCs. So for insurance companies, banking and financial institutions, NBFCs, the time limit is 45 days. The time limit is 45 days. Is that clear, everyone? Right. Next, in the case of continuous supply of services. Sir, what do you mean by continuous supply of services? What do you mean by the continuous supply of services? Ma, continuous supply of services and continuous supply of services and just like we have seen one example in the last class, continuous supply of goods. In the similarly, you will be having continuous supply of services. The best examples I can give you is broadband connection services. Broadband connection for internet services. Internet services is the best example for continuous supply of service. Once we have taken the broadband connection, we are going to use it for a continuous period. We don't take the broadband connection for 1 month or 2 months sake. We will take it for a longer period. In order to treat a particular supply of service as continuous supply of service, there are some conditions to be satisfied only. In the conditions only, that services should be provided for a minimum continuous period of 3 months. For a minimum continuous period of 3 months. Second condition, the payment for which should be payable on the completion of a milestone event. See, when I've taken the broadband connection, I'm going to make the payment on monthly basis. On monthly basis. General services cases, the payment will be made at the end of the completion of the service. After the complete provision of service, the payment will be made. The payment will be made. But here in this case, the payment will be made on a continuous basis. On a continuous basis. Here the service is not going to be end up by very soon. It is a continuous supply of service. You don't know kada, when are you going to stop your broadband connection services? When are you going to disconnect the services? You don't know, right? You might take for 1 year, or you might take for 2 years, or you might take for 3 years. See, presently I'm using ACT broadband connection services. Earlier it used to call as Beam FiberNet. Earlier it used to be called as Beam FiberNet. I'm using this net connection since last 6 years and it's a continuous process. As long as I feel convenient with respect to these services, I can continue this. I will continue this. But whenever I feel some inconveniences, then I'll immediately disconnect it. See, if I apply the general provisions in the case of continuous supply of services, since last 6 years I'm enjoying the services, but I am under no obligation to make the payment. If I apply the general services provisions here, right, that is why under continuous supply of services, the payment should be made after the completion of a milestone event. What do you mean by the milestone event here? A particular end of a month and end of a month. On monthly basis, we are paying this rental charges, right? So after the completion of a particular month, an invoice will be generated and will be sent to your registered mail ID. Then you will be given with a time limit of 10 days. Within that 10 days, you need to make that payment. So continuous supply of services, the first condition is that it should be provided for a minimum period of 3 months. The payments should be made after the completion of a milestone event. And then it should be periodically, right? A minimum period of 3 months and 3 months complete chesi close to it's a recurring in nature. It should be recurring in nature. Then it will be treated as what? Continuous supply of services. Continuous supply of services. Broadband connection, you can take it as example. Cable connection charges, you can take it as example. Postpaid, you can take it as example. Postpaid connections for your mobile. Continuous supply of services example. AMC, annual maintenance contract, is a best example for continuous supply of services. Construction contracts usually take 6 months to 1 year, 2 years time. Example for continuous supply of services. You can take any of these examples now. All these are covered under continuous supply of services. Now, in the case of the continuous supply of services, right? So when should the invoice be issued? When should the payment, the invoice should be issued? So here you can see, the invoice should be issued either on or before the due date of the payment, on or before the due date of the payment, or before or at the time when the supplier of services receives the payment, or on or before the date of completion of the milestone event when the payment is linked to the completion of an event. So different scenarios, right? See, if the payment is linked, to the invoices, that means if due date is ascertainable, that means, see, if the same example you have taken, that ACT broadband connection services, in my case, the bill will be generated on the last day of every month. So for the month of August 31st, the bill was generated. On August 31st, the bill was generated. And I should make that payment on or before 10th of September. So that means the due date is ascertainable. The payment is linked to the due date. The due date is ascertainable. So in that case, the invoice should be issued on or before the due date of the payment. On or before the due date of the payment. The invoice should be issued to the service recipient. In case some situations, the due date is not ascertainable. The due date is not ascertainable. Like, see, I have some electronical appliances in my house. For the example sake, I have the air conditioner. Actually, I don't have. I have the washing machine. I have the refrigerator. I have the electronical appliances in a house. TV, television, yes, inverter, microwave ovens. Now, for all these electronical appliances, I've entered an AMC with the service provider who providing the AMC services, annual maintenance contract. Now, what these people will do on a regular basis, right? For every 1 month or for every 2 months, they will come to our house and they will verify the working condition of all these electronical appliances. All these electronical appliances, right? We don't know, like sometimes what will happen, sir, without knowing how to use that particular electronical appliances, because of our irregular usage or because of our lack of knowledge how to use of that particular electronical appliances, what will happen is the life of that electronical appliances will be reduced only. 10 years work చేసే ఏసీ కాస్త 6 years కో 7 years కో అది స్క్రాప్ అవుట్ అయిపోయింది, right? When it comes to the washing machine, sir, for every 10 days or for every 1 week, we need to go for the tub clean చేస్తూ ఉండాలి. ఇవన్నీ ఒకటి మనకు తెలియదు సార్, వాటర్ యూసేజ్ కానివ్వండి, ఎస్ సార్ నో, పర్టికులర్ డిటర్జెంట్ యూసేజ్ కానివ్వండి, ఈ మనకి తెలియక ఏమవుతుందంటే సార్, వాటి లైఫ్ ని మన చేసేట్ల వాటిని పాడు చేస్తూ ఉంటాం. ఈ ఏఎంసీ వల్ల అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటంటే సార్, they will come to our houses on a frequent basis, every month or every 2 months. They will verify the working condition and they will make the necessary repairs. And they will make the necessary maintenance and everything, for which they will charge certain amount. Then the life of the assets will be increased. Just a second, sir. Right. Sorry for the inconvenience. So what will happen, ma'am? So he will come on regular basis and he will verify everything, repairs and maintenance charges he will provide to us, whereby we can maintain the same life of the asset. We can use that assets on an effective basis, in an effective manner. So that is the advantage of taking the AMC services, annual maintenance contract services. Annual maintenance contract services. See, basically what will happen in this here, they will issue the invoices, but there will be no particular due date. There will be no particular due date. So whenever we pay the amount, they will accept only. Whenever we pay the amount, they will accept. So there is no such a due date. So when there are no due dates, then the invoice should be issued before or at the time when the supplier of services receives the payment. So whenever we are making the payment to that AMC personnel, they will issue the invoice to us, or they will first issue the invoice to us, then we will make the payment. So no specific due date will be there. Right. Next. Third one, on or before the date of completion of a milestone event. Milestone event is like I've told you that example, broadband connection. Right. So what if that's a monthly charges may go levy chesam sir on monthly basis. Right. So every month you will get an invoice. and you'll get a time limit of 10 days, sir. Within 10 days, you have to pay off. అర్థమవుతుంది లేదు if you want you can take that connection on a quarterly basis. You can opt for the payment on quarterly basis. Many of the service providers are giving advantages like pay for 6 months and get 1 month connection free, pay for 12 months get 2 months internet services at free of cost. In act only there is such a kind of offer, sir. So if I opt for paying the 6 months rental charges at a time, so I'll pay for 6 months and I will get 7 months service. Right. So here, what is the completion of milestone event? That 6 months time period. 6 months time period. Whenever that 6 months time period completed, then the invoice can be issued only. Next. Look at the note point. In the case of insurance companies, banking companies, financial institutions, including NBFCs, telecom companies notified supplier of services making supplies between distinct persons. So that means they are providing the services to another establishment, another branch, which are belonging to the same company. Like SBI Dilshnagar branch providing services to SBI Bandar Road branch. SBI Dilshnagar, Hyderabad, Telangana. SBI Bandar Road, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. 2 different states needs 2 different registrations. Though there are 2 separate registrations, the PAN will be same now. Company is same, right? State Bank of India, company will be same. As long as the company is the same, PAN will be the same. So there are 2 separate registrations, but with the same PAN number. But for the purposes of the GST, they will be treated as 2 distinct persons. Though they are belonging to the same company, same organization, but only for the purposes of the GST, they will be treated as 2 distinct persons. This point we have already learned in the chapter supply under GST in schedule number 1, read this section 7.1c. Deemed supplies. In order to treat a particular transaction as a supply, consideration is one of the mandatory parameter. But there are 4 transactions. Even if there is no consideration, still that particular transaction to be treated as what? Still that particular transaction to be treated as supply. There are 4 situations. What are they? First one, permanent transfer or disposal of business assets. Second one, supplies between the related and distinct persons. Third one, import of services. Fourth one, supplies between principal and agent. Yes or no? In these 4 occasions, though the consideration factor is missing out, still they will be treated as supplies. Right, ma? There we have learned about the distinct persons. So when should the invoice be issued, ma? The invoice may be issued before or at the time of recording said supply in the books of account, or before the expiry of the quarter during which the supply was made. Right. So whenever that particular entry was recorded into the books of account, then that particular event you need to issue the invoice, or before the expiry of a quarter during which such supply was made. Assume that today the supply was made 12th September 2020. When the quarter is going to be completed? 12th September 2020, and it is Q2. Q2 epudu complete avutundi? With 30th September 2020. So that means the invoice should be issued on or before 30th September 2020. Clear, ma? Next, moving on. Joint Development Agreements, JDA. Somewhere we listen to it, Joint Development Agreements. Can anyone tell me where we have listened to it? About the joint development agreements? Oh, very good. Yes, in capital gains chapter we have listened to it. Very good, ma. In capital gains, section number 45(5)(a). Section 45(5)(a), we have discussed about joint development agreements. Right, ma? So here you can see the liability to pay the GST in the case of construction of complex building or civil structure against the consideration in the form of transfer of development rights. We have seen that example. Mr. X having the land with him, Mr. Y is a real estate developer. They both entered into the agreement whereby Mr. Y construct the building, construct a complex on that land, and for transferring the development rights in the land, that Mr. X will receive the consideration in kind and as well as in cash. Ante whatever the complex constructed on that land, in that complex he will get some flats in the form of consideration, plus along with that he will also receive certain amount of consideration in cash. Did you remember that example? We have seen in section 45(5)(a). So transfer of development rights against the consideration in the form of construction service of complex building or civil structure. Right. So then to the time when the possession or right in the property is transferred to the landowner by entering into a conveyance deed or similar instrument, that is the allotment letter. Allotment letter. Right. So we have an example. So you just look into that example, you will get a clarity. Dinesh Kandu will do one thing. Sai Manaswini, are you there? Yeah. Sai Manaswini, read out more. Example.
Mr. X enters into a joint development agreement with SM Constructions Limited on 12th January, whereby the development right over the plot of land owned by Mr. X is transferred to SM Constructions to build a residential complex. SM Constructions agrees to transfer 3 flats out of 20 flats to be built in the residential complex to Mr. X as a consideration for transfer of development rights. The other details are: land development rights are transferred on 31st January. Construction begins on 1st April. Construction of 3 flats gets completed on 30th June. Construction of entire complex gets completed on 30th November. Allotment letter for 3 flats issued to Mr. X on 25th December. Payment of GST on transfer of development rights by Mr. X and supply of construction service by SM Constructions to Mr. X is postponed to the date of allotment letter, that is 25th December.
Right. So here there are two parties. Mr. X enters into a joint development agreement with SM Constructions Limited on 12th January, whereby the development right over the plot of land owned by Mr. X is transferred to SM Constructions to build a residential complex. Who is the landowner here? Mr. X is a landowner. Mr. X is a landowner. And what is the company providing this construction services? SM Constructions Limited. SM Constructions Limited. Right, ma? And they both entered into the joint development agreement on 12th January. Right, ma? And SM Construction agrees to transfer 3 flats out of the 20 flats to be built in the residential complex to Mr. X as a consideration for the transfer of development rights. So for transferring that development rights, to SM Constructions Limited, Mr. X is getting consideration 3 flats and out of the total 20 flats. Other details surely. Land development rights are transferred on 31st January. Construction begin on 1st April. Construction of 3 flats completed on 30th June. Construction of entire complex constructed on 30th November. Allotment letter. This is what ultimately relevant to Mamanage. Allotment letter of 3 flats issued to Mr. X on 25th December. See, here Mr. X received the construction services. Now on this particular construction services, X has to pay the GST. Sir, when should he pay the GST? As in when he received the 3 flats from the SM Constructions. No need to pay the GST immediately on transfer of development rights. Why? Because immediately on transfer of development rights, he is not getting consideration. The development rights transferred on 31st January, whereas he got the consideration on 25th December. So Mr. X can make the payment of GST on or after 25th of December. He can postpone that payment of GST up to 25th of December only. So that is what explained in the last paragraph. Payment of GST on transfer of development rights by Mr. X and supply of construction services by Mr. Y, by SM Constructions to Mr. X is postponed to the date of allotment letter, that is 25th December. Are you following, ma'am? Right? Next. Point number 4. In the case of excess payment up to rupees 1000 made, option of taking the invoice date as time of supply. This is what we call short advances. Advance amount up to 1000 rupees. Advance amount up to 1000 rupees. Short advances. So now, what is the case of, what is a time of supply in the case of this advance payments? And here the advance amount shall not exceed 1000 rupees. Short advances antunnam. And ancient advances to short advances to long and advances untaya. Short advances up to rupees 1000. Up to rupees 1000. If exceeding 1000, the provision is different. The provision is different. So up to 1000 rupees, what is the time of supply? Here the time of supply option is left to the supplier. He is having the option to take the date of invoice as time of supply. He is having the option to take the date of invoice as time of supply straight away. Straight away. అర్థమవుతుంది. సరే అసలు షార్ట్ అడ్వాన్సెస్ ఎందుకు అరైజ్ అవుతాయి? ఎందుకు అరైజ్ అవుతాయి? Like, see, assume that my credit card bill amount, let it be some 24,600 rupees. I have paid 25,000 rupees. Now, will I get that 400 rupees refund? Ante answer is no. That 400 excess which you have paid, that will be adjusted towards next month bill amount. That will be adjusted towards your next month bill amount. అంతేకాని మీకు రీఫండ్ రాదమ్మా 400. ఇప్పుడు ఎక్సెస్కి ఏదైతే పే చేసావో అది నీకు రీఫండ్ రాదు. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఎందుకంటే సార్ క్రెడిట్ కార్డ్ బిల్స్ పే చేసేటప్పుడు ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా ఆ పైసాకి రౌండ్ అప్ చేసి చేస్తామంటే నో అండి. ఇప్పుడు 23,762.5 పైస్ ఉంది అనుకోండి, మనం ఎంత పే చేస్తాం? సర్లే అని చెప్పి ఒక 24,000 లేదా 23,800 పే చేస్తాం. రైట్? అంటే సమ్వాట్ ఎక్సెస్ అమౌంట్ వి విల్ పే. But no need to worry, that excess amount will be adjusted towards your next bill. Towards your next bill. Since that amount will be adjusting towards next bill, for that advance amount, the time of supply should be taken as date of invoice. Which date of invoice? The date of invoice of the next month. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇప్పుడు ఆగస్ట్ మంత్ లో నా క్రెడిట్ కార్డ్ బిల్ 24,600. I have paid 25,000. So excess paid 400 rupees. This will be adjusted towards September month bill. This will be adjusted towards September month bill. So whenever the September month the date of invoice is issued, that is the time of supply for this 400 rupees. Clear everyone? Right? Date of invoice, and it's not the date of invoice of August month. Since this is adjusting towards next month bill, you should take the date of invoice of the next month. Date of invoice of the next month, subsequent month. Clear everyone? Manaswini, read out that example, ma'am.
Okay. A telephone company is rupees 5,000 against an invoice of 4,800. The excess amount of rupees 200 can be adjusted against next invoice. The company has the option to take date of next invoice as the time of supply of service in relation to the amount of rupees 200 received in excess against earlier invoice.
So the time of supply in relation to the excess amount of 200 rupees, right, against the earlier invoice. So time of supply em తీసుకుమన్నట్టు, the company has the option to take the date of next invoice as the time of supply. The date of next invoice as the time of supply of services. Clear? Next one. Next. So this is about the first one, sir. Time of supply of services where the tax is payable under forward charge mechanism. Right? Just go through it and ask the doubts if any, sir. No doubts, ma. Let's move on. Move on to the second transaction. Time of supply of services. In the case, the tax is payable under reverse charge mechanism. The tax is payable under reverse charge mechanism. Okay, ma. So, in the case of reverse charge mechanism, so time of supply of service in the case of reverse charge mechanism. So the condition is that if the payment was made within a period of 60 days, if the payment was made within the period of 60 days from the date of invoice. If the answer for the question is yes, time of supply is equal to date of payment. Time of supply is equal to date of payment. If the answer for the question is no, then time of supply is equal to 61st day. 61st day from the date of invoice. Clear, ma? So as simple as it. So if the payment was made within a period of 60 days from the date of issuance of invoice, from the date of issuance of invoice, then take the date of payment as time of supply. Here, when we said the reverse charge mechanism, we need to discuss all these provisions from a recipient of service. From recipient of service angle, we need to discuss these provisions from recipient of service angle. If the recipient paid the amount consideration within 60 days, then time of supply is date of payment. If not, 61st day will be the time of supply from the date of issuance of invoice. Clear, ma? So note it down. Completed, sir. Now let's move on to the provisions. So you can see here now, recipient of service that are taxable under reverse charge mechanism. The time of supply of service is on which the GST is payable under reverse charge mechanism will be the earliest of the following. Date of payment, ఎప్పుడు తీసుకోవాలి ఇది if payment was made within a period of 60 days or date immediately following the 60 days. Date immediately following the 60 days and nothing but 61st day. 61st day since the issuance of the invoice or any other document in lieu of invoice by the supplier. So date of payment or 61st day, whichever is earlier will be the time of supply. Next. In case if the above events are not ascertainable, simple answer, the date on which the service was entered into the books of account by the recipient will be the time of supply. So the time of supply shall be the date of entry in the books of account of the recipient of the supply. Okay, ma. Next. Sir, what do you mean by the date of payment here? The same provisions which we have studied even in the case of time of supply of goods, reverse charge mechanism, same provisions. The date on which the payment was recorded in the books of account or the date on which the payment was debited. This is you are discussing from the recipient point of view. For recipient, it is a payment. For the recipient, it is a payment. The payment will be debited to his account. The payment will be debited to his account. Right? So that is why the payment was debited to the bank account of the entity which was earlier. So why 60 days is taken in the case of reverse charge mechanism? See, it's a provision. Why 60 days? And there is no logical explanation. See, if I ask a question like why 30 days time limit is given for the issuance of invoices, it's a provision. It's a time limit. It's a time limit for which we don't have any proper explanation. Logical explanation అంటూ ఏముండదు దీనికి. కొన్ని టైం లిమిట్ చాలా ఫిక్స్ చేస్తారు యాక్ట్లో ఫిక్స్ చేసిన టైం లిమిట్స్ we need to follow as it is. Right? That's it. Basically, why they have taken 60 days అంటే logical explanation మనం ఏం చెప్పుకోవచ్చు అంటే సార్, generally the services or the goods will be supplied on credit basis only. Credit basis. Right? Whenever we set credit, the supplier will generally give us either 1 month time limit or 2 months time limit for the repayment of consideration. So on an average, they have taken 60 days. Antenamma. Supplier of services, మనకి ఎలాగో క్రెడిట్ పీరియడ్ ఇస్తాడు. మన వాళ్ళు ఏంటంటే ఒక 60 days ఒక యావరేజ్ పీరియడ్ తీసుకున్నారు. సో అందుకే ఇఫ్ ద పేమెంట్ వాజ్ మేడ్ విత్ ఇన్ ఏ పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ 60 days, అలా 60 days అనేది ఫ్రేమ్ అవుట్ చేసి ఇచ్చారండి. అంతే. Next, moving on. In the case of import of services from associated enterprises, so whenever you are importing services from associated enterprises, sir, what do you mean by associated enterprises? We have given the definition here. Actually, this word has not been defined in the CGST Act. We have taken the definition from Income Tax Act. We have taken this definition from Income Tax Act. In Income Tax Act, section number 92, capital A, discussed about the transactions between associated enterprises. Right? That word associated enterprises defined in section 2, clause 12. Section 2, clause 12, which defines the term associated enterprises. Right? Okay, we will see about the definition later. First, look at the main provision. In the case of import of services from associated enterprises, the time of supply will be the date of entry in the books of account of the recipient or the date of payment, whichever is earlier. In simple terms, lo cheppali ante associated enterprises, related parties amma. Just like relationship ela untadante head office, branch office, holding company, subsidiary company, relationship ila untadamma. Head office is in USA, branch is in India. Head office provided services to a branch in India. Now, will this head office charge any consideration from the branch? Do they charge any consideration on their branch? Answer is absolutely no. Majority of the cases, Loma, whenever the transactions happening between associated enterprises, no consideration will be involved in it. Instead, what they will do is just they will make some book adjustments. Just general entries pass చేసుకుంటారు అంతే. అందుకనే డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఏం చేసిందంటే date of payment అనేది that might be there and that might not be there. If there is no payment of consideration, there will be no date of payment. That is why they have said, if you are passing journal entry in your books of account, yes sir, we are passing journal entries. That's it. Whenever you made the entry into your books of account, that will be your time of supply. If payment is made, then compare with the date of entry in the books of account with the date of payment, whichever is earlier time of supply. When there is no payment, anyhow you will make an entry into your books of account. ఒకవేళ మీరు పేమెంట్ చేయలేదు అనుకోండి, బుక్ లో ఎంట్రీ అయితే పాస్ చేసుకుంటారుగా, సో అండ్ సో హెడ్ ఆఫీస్ నుంచి సర్వీసెస్ రిసీవ్ చేసుకున్నానని, ద డేట్ ఆన్ విచ్ యూ మేడ్ అన్ ఎంట్రీ ఇంటూ యువర్ బుక్స్ ఆఫ్ అకౌంట్, దట్ విల్ బి యువర్ టైమ్ ఆఫ్ సప్లై. ఇస్ దట్ క్లియర్ ఎవ్రీవన్? Right. Now see the definition of associated enterprises. Not that important from examination point of view. This is given only for your general knowledge. You don't get any straight away question in the main exam. What do you mean by associated enterprises? Align questions in Ravama. Don't expect such a kind of straightforward questions, especially from the subject taxation. Clear? So associated enterprises in relation to one another enterprise means, Manaswini, read out ma. Where is she? Where is she? Yes. Read ma. Definition.
Associated enterprise in relation to another enterprise means an enterprise which participates or in respect of which one or more persons who participate directly or indirectly or through one or more intermediaries in its management or control or capital are the same persons who participate directly or indirectly or through one or more intermediaries in the management or control or capital of the other enterprise.
Right. So most complicated definition. Here you will find all R's directly, indirectly, through one or more intermediaries. So that is why what we have done is we have given you the examples here. For all the particular situations in the definition, we have the example. For every situation, I have given you an example. So the following are some of the illustrative examples of associated enterprises to another. First one, A Limited holds 52% equity share capital in B Limited. That means A Limited having the controlling authority over B Limited. Now we can say that A Limited and B Limited both are associated enterprises. Associated enterprises. Next. Second example, B Limited has fully owned subsidiary named C Limited. So B Limited a holding company, C Limited wholly owned subsidiary company. So again, we can establish the associated enterprises relationship between B and C. Next, A Limited and D Limited together holds 26% equity share capital in B Limited. And A Limited, D Limited put together having a substantial interest in B Limited. Having substantial interest in B Limited. Now I can say that A Limited and D Limited are said to be the associated enterprises. A Limited and D Limited. A Limited and D Limited are said to be associated enterprises since they are jointly holding 26% in B Limited. Are you following? Next, B Limited advanced loan to A Limited of rupees 52 crores, which is 52% of the total book value of the assets of B Limited. So B Limited will assume that totally there is 100 crores of assets, out of which 52 crores of worth of assets purchased, with the amount given by B Limited. With the amount given by B Limited. But B Limited, given a loan of 52 crores to A Limited, which is equal to 52% of total book value of assets of B Limited. Today, more than 51%. The book value of assets of the B Limited has given a loan as loan to A Limited. But again, A Limited ki B Limited ki we can create the associated enterprises relationship. Next, B Limited guarantees A Limited for the loan taken by C Limited. Now in this example, tell me sir, which two companies are associated enterprises? Which two companies are said to be associated enterprises? A and B, A and C, or B and C? Which two companies are said to be associated enterprises? ఇంతసేపా fast. Tell me which two companies are associated. A and B, A and C, B and C. I've given you three options. Later, we are coming from CPTC. We need fourth option also. Otherwise, we don't do the answer. We habituated for 4 answers for any question. Sir, me choice. None of the above. None of the above. Tell me, sir, fast. So far, only one student responded. A and B, I think so. Okay, Inka. A and C. Vamshi, okay, good. Inka. Inka, fast. Mahesh, Nari Krishna, Kiran, Dinesh, Gautam. Respond first. See, whether you said the right answer or whether you said the wrong answer, it doesn't matter, sir. Participation matters. Participation matters always. The correct answer is that Gautam, B and C. Okay, very good. Inka. Transaction చూడండి first. B Limited guarantees A Limited for loan taken by C Limited. So the correct answer is that B and C is associated enterprises. Late option and latest ko chepparu evaru Gautama? Yes. Gautam, what you said is absolutely right. B and C is the correct answer. B and C is the correct answer. Why, sir? Because here who has taken loan? C Limited. C Limited has taken the loan. And for this loan, who has given the guarantee? B Limited is given the guarantee. See, without knowing anything or without having any relationship, whether an unknown person gives you guarantee with respect to a loan taken by you. Sir, if in a bank, I'm taking a loan of some 10 crores. If I ask you to give the guarantee for this loan, will you give? At least my relationship of 2 months and only. Me not tells you, name me tells you. At least some of you come forward and will give the guarantee. That's a complete unknown person. మీరు అలా రోడ్డు మీద నడుచుకుంటూ వెళ్తున్నారు, బ్యాంక్ లో నుంచి ఒక పర్సన్ వచ్చి బాబు నేను ఇక్కడ ఒక 10 crores లోన్ తీసుకుంటున్నా బాబు, గ్యారంటర్ సిగ్నేచర్ కావాలంట, వచ్చి ఒకసారి మీ ఆటోగ్రాఫ్ పెట్టాలండి, మీరు పెడతారా? Without knowing that person, without knowing his financial performance, without knowing his financial ability, will you be surety for any loan? Answer is no. So B Limited is giving the guarantee for a loan taken by C Limited, and there must be some relationship annatega. So B Limited and C Limited is said to be the associated enterprises. Next. And the last one, the most of the board of directors, key managerial persons in B Limited and C Limited are the same. So same board of directors and managerial persons, same unnar kabatti, so we can say that B Limited and C Limited are associated enterprises. Okay, now that's only for your general knowledge purpose. Next. So the second one, sir, time of supply of services in the case of reverse charge mechanism. The simple thing you need to remember, if the payment is made within a period of 60 days, time of supply is equal to date of payment. If the payment was not made within a period of 60 days, then time of supply is equal to 61st day from the date of issuance of invoice. 61st day from the date of issuance of invoice. Is that clear, everyone? Next, moving on to the third one, sir, supply of vouchers. Supply of vouchers. So same provisions what we learned for time of supply of goods, supply of vouchers, the same provisions applicable here also. If the services are identifiable at the time of issuance of vouchers, then the date of issuance of the voucher, time of supply. If the services are not identifiable, the services are not identifiable, then the date of redemption of voucher is the time of supply. As simple as that. అర్థమవుతుంది. See, let us take an example that I got a coupon from Javed and Habib Salon. Javed and Habib Salon. Javed and Habib is a very famous saloon persons. Very costliest also. Yes or no? Javed and Habib. I got a voucher, sir. Now tell me, sir, by using that voucher, which kind of service I can utilize? I can avail only haircut services. Only haircut services or shaving or trimming or any kind of facials. Only these services you can avail. No other services you can avail. Yes or no? And the type of services which you can avail by using this voucher is known to you. The services are identifiable. The services are identifiable. So in that case, what will happen now? The date of issuance of the voucher is the time of supply. The date of issuance of the voucher is the time of supply. Next. Let us assume that I got an voucher of what we call, so there are certain apps in which you can book the domestic services like, you can call for carpenter services, you can call for electricity, you can call for furniture repair, you can call for all types of repairs. The app untadi sir, enti app adi? I have that app in my mobile.